Nom, nom.
Once we were many. Now we are few. Hunters, killers of the world's filth. Witchers, the ultimate killing machines. Among us, a legend. The one they call Geralt of Rivia, the White Wolf.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Race Select Community Podcast, and today we present to you The Witcher 3 review.
Alright, let's be honest. It's just gentlemen. It's just a sausage fest on this website.
We have no women.
This is a terrible way to start it too, but whatever. It's all depressing.
This is male dominated. You know, feminists.
Yeah, it's
are
patriarchy.
not fan of
It's
us.
not because they
It's
don't
the
want to
patriarchy.
show up. Yeah, it's not because they don't want to show up. It's because we don't want them here. That's the truth. Yeah. No girls allowed, guys.
We're in our internet tree house, and we want to be left alone.
Yeah. Our internet pillow fort.
No dogs allowed.
Oh, we can have dogs as long as they're male.
I thought you were going to say, and no bitches allowed.
Bitches allowed. Just do that thing in Family Guy where you peer outside of the little eye hole and you just dart your eyes around. No girls allowed.
I just want to remind folks out there that the Race Select Community Podcast is an equal opportunity offender. We go after everybody.
Yeah, except for me, white people. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. All right, fucking Witcher 3. What happened? What is the game? Just cut that part out. The last part there, cut that part out.
No, we're keeping it. Anyway, no, The Witcher 3, all of us has played it, and it's just to set up this general premise, it takes place directly 6 months after the events of Witcher 2, where Geralt has now recovered his memory and has set out on a quest to reunite his family, which includes his long and estranged lover, Yennefer, and his...
If you want.
Yeah.
Well,
You can reunite if you want.
Yeah. Or you can get the much better woman and go with Triss.
Well, it really is like a Betty Veronica scenario.
Yeah, it is.
The iconic character of Archie.
Yeah. Oh, God. Wow. We brought in an Archie reference into our fucking podcast.
I'm a pretty big Archie fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, Archie's pretty good. I'm not
Wow.
gonna deny that.
I know about the Archie comic where they bring in Sabrina and who gets married to Cthulhu or some shit.
Yeah, didn't they like bring back an R-rated version of Archie?
Yeah.
Like people die and zombies.
There
and
was
stuff?
like a zombie one. It's like
Yeah.
The Walking
Yeah,
Dead
that's
of
the one I'm talking
Riverdale.
about. It's awesome.
The Walking Dead of Riverdale. I just remember when they showed up in The Simpsons and beat the shit out of Homer or whatever. And stay out of Riverdale. They kicked him out or whatever. That's
So,
funny.
we're
We're bringing up
topical.
all the Archie references. This is the Archie podcast. Archie fan.
And then Buffy showed up. It got really strange. Anyway, no. And then let me go on.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch was a better reference. Let's be honest. I mean, I watched the show. It came on right after whatever All That or whatever that stupid Amanda Bynes like kids variety show.
Oh, what was it? The Amanda Show or?
Yeah, All That.
Yeah,
So,
all that. Yeah.
Amanda Show and All That were two different shows. I think Amanda Show came after the fact because
Yeah.
she brought a lot of people from All That and got her own spin-off.
Yeah, all
Anyway.
that was with like Keenan and Kel and the fucking Good Burger thing and all.
Let's get out
I just
of.
remember the Bare Naked Ladies had a gay kiss on stage right in front of a bunch of like 11-year-olds, and I don't know why they decided to do it there, but
I love the fact that we're bringing up the fact that yes, we grew up in the '90s.
it's been 10 years since you looked at me. How's that song go?
It's been 1 week since you looked at. It was all about 1 week.
Okay, never mind.
And out of nowhere, they mentioned like Sailor Moon for some fucking reason, and it's like, wait, what?
And then
They-
we watched Boy Meets World, and it was very.
We should talk about The Witcher.
Funny enough, okay, before we get to The Witcher, the brother from
What?
Boy Meets World was Terry McGinnis from Batman Beyond.
Wait, what?
The older brother from Boy Meets World is the voice actor who voiced Terry McGinnis, Ron Stoppable from the Kim Possible show, and Lion-O from the 2010 Thundercats show.
What?
I'm not even fucking joking. Look
Okay.
it the fuck up.
Okay.
Okay,
that
never
just
mind
blew my
though,
mind.
because that's not about Witcher. Jesus.
And
Also-
yeah,
Jesse McCarthy also voiced Sora and Robin and Nightwing in Young Justice.
Yeah.
Sora, like Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, from
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, wait, I thought I thought the dude who voiced Sora was,
Wasn't it Jesse
Sixth,
McCarthy?
it was the Sixth Sense kid. No, I think, Roxas was the one he
Oh.
voiced. The
No, wait,
Sixth
I think
Sense kid is the one who does Sora.
No, wait, I think he did Sora in Kingdom Hearts 2, and the guy from the Sixth Sense did
I'm pretty sure that it's, Haley Joel Osment. Yeah.
Oh, at this point, who cares?
Okay, yeah, let's go. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you guys, but
Well, it's like, okay, what can we say about The Witcher except, like, we like it. Or I like it. I really like it.
who voices Geralt? Because I like that voice. After a
a
while,
let me see.
It's a guy who smokes nothing but cigarettes and drinks whiskey all day.
He sounds kind of like the dude who,
I'm gonna say this: Solid Snake. I like him about as much as David Hayter's Solid Snake and Big Boss.
His name is Doug Cockle.
You know, he gives a flat, like, whatever. It's a flat cadence or whatever. Because he's a Witcher.
I mean, like, because it's like, the Witchers are pretty much like, I mean, for lack of a better example, but they're pretty much like Terminators. Like, they can't show emotion.
Well, they're not robots, but they're like...
It's like, in the way that they can't show emotion in their voice.
I would say, like, they're a... Yeah.
But they can't show it. They can't emote it.
I would say they're like that movie, Hannah, or whatever, like a trained killer.
Right,
that's
yeah.
trained to
Yeah,
even deal with their emotions and
That's
shit.
much closer, yeah.
Yeah, basically, they do a really good interpretation of how Geralt is in the books.
Yeah.
Yeah. The games have always been the best offshoot of the books for that franchise, definitely.
They're the best fan fiction that you can ask for.
Exactly. And, but no, I want to say though, like, after a while, just listening to Geralt, and they also got the facial animation down really good in this game.
Yeah, whoever does like the eyebrows moving and all that shit, like the small little shit, they did a really amazing job.
Yeah, like, he grew on me up to the point of, like, Solid Snake. Like, his voice is silly when you hear it. It's just like, another Necker contract, but I want to play Gwent. You know, it's just like...
Gwent! I love Gwent.
I think the voice...
Gwent cards.
No, I think the voice acting, like, if you just listen to it probably without any sort of, like, looking at a character, you can get, like, this guy sounds like generic badass number 22.
Yeah. Yeah, like, if you come into it not knowing anything about the characters...
Yeah.
Then, yeah, obviously, yeah, you're gonna make the mistake of being like, oh, this is all generic, and it's just generic white man, number 5089.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, no, you have to actually look into the world that they've actually set up, and why he actually sounds like that.
It seems like a copy of Steve Blum at a certain point.
Oh, no. Because I can tell Steve Blum right away, and it annoys me because he's so blatant. I fucking hate Steve Blum.
See, I like Steve Blum. I like him, whoever was the voice actor for Death and Darksiders.
He's just in too much shit.
Would you like him more if he wasn't in so many things?
Yes. But
okay.
He's just...
So it's just oversaturation.
Too much stuff, and it's the same voice, and it's just... I have to hear him, like, so much, it gets annoying.
So with this... like, oversaturation and shit.
Sure, yeah. But, like, with the, you made a good point. Like, if you didn't know about Geralt, he'd seem generic. But, that's why I wanted to make the point where he's kind of like Metal Gear Solid for me, where it's like, Jeff has a good point, where it's like, it's just that voice. You start ignoring it, even though it's hilarious when you're a newcomer. You start ignoring it, or you just become used to it, and then it becomes kind of like a likable character, really.
Yeah, like once you start playing like an hour or two in and getting used to the voice, you really can't imagine that voice anywhere else.
And
you can't imagine that character with any other voice.
And
I also a bit more than that, but yeah.
And also there's the fact that when we just see Geralt at certain points, he's just generic badass, but the more you get to know him, the more you see that he has a sense of humor. He has actual emotion behind his voice, and the voice actor does a pretty good job.
I will always laugh my ass off when he goes, "You're more like the Crimson Asshole."
Yeah.
Let's be clear, though. You can be humorous. You might not. You can also be a hard ass.
Yeah.
It's a choice. It's all choices.
Might be actually quite like everyone except kids, for all you want.
He's quite neutral in all of his dialogue up until there's a choice, and they give you a choice to be one of two ways. And that actually comes to, like, affect the storyline in quite a bit, the way you kind of treat a very special person.
Yeah.
Well, let's be clear. The main objective of the game,
It's to
after you
find
start off, coming from the second game where there's a big political upheaval, there's an upcoming war, you have, like, several alliances depending on your choices you made in the second game. In this game, it says whatever, you're just kind of looking out for Temeria again. You kind of just show up in Temeria, and then you're there. Nothing really matters what happened in the last game, I would say.
I wouldn't say that. Like, nothing matters to you personally.
Yeah.
More or less, because it's like, the war doesn't have anything to do with you.
That's true.
Because, like, Witchers, it's already more or less been established that Witchers more or less are neutral. Like, they don't sign up for wars. They don't sign up for, like, taking part in wars. The best thing that they basically are is
Monster hunters.
Monster hunters. That's really the only thing they are. Like, they're the fucking blade that everyone, they're the equivalency of guns. Everyone hates them, but they fucking need them.
But they also deal with the fact that not every Witcher. They show that other Witchers from different schools and different things act differently. Like a lot of people from this Witcher school turn out to be assassins as well as monster hunters.
Well, yeah, the different schools have their different storylines and
or you have there's one school like the School of the Cat, which is like
the School of Assassins.
Hated. Yeah, the School of Assassins, and is like wholly hated. Or you have the School.
Well,
of the
they turned into the School of Assassins. They're not like
they didn't start out that way.
No,
assassins.
Yeah. You have the School of the Wolf, which more or less just stayed.
Is the main character of the game.
Well,
they're the main characters.
Yeah, they're the main faction that you mostly focus on, but they were the ones who was like, they mostly stayed as they were, but they're dying out.
I get the impression that it was just among Witchers, it was just the Cat school that fucked up. Most of them are still fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Letho is not even who's a major character in both these games and can be alive depending on the decisions you made in previous games. He's not a cat. I think he's from the Viper.
Yeah, he's from the Viper. School
so,
Viper.
I mean, it's mostly like, it's one of those great games that it has a rich mythology to it.
Yeah.
Not only from the books, but the game also makes well use of this mythology where if you read the books, you get a certain thing out of it. If you play the previous game, you also get a certain thing out of it. However, you can kind of come in to Witcher 3 without playing the previous games because they make reference to the fact of the previous games and events of that, but it's not too important to what the main crux of the story is.
And it's also interesting.
Yeah, it's very separate. It's very separate, I find, because it was, like I said in one of the podcasts earlier, like, there's absolutely no way they can fully make a game that fully respects all the choices you made in the second game.
It's impossible.
It'd be impossible.
It's very difficult, and it's like I think they respected it as much as you could.
I don't agree with that either.
It's like
it just went a different way. Really.
Like
you don't see any. Like for instance, if you take the elf route in the second game, you don't see anyone. Yeah. There's no one. You see Roche. Well, you don't see Yorvik. He's not in the game.
No,
Yorvik's
but you do see the. Well, okay, we should talk about this during the.
But they didn't respect what I found was the objectively better path to go help the minorities and help them liberate a city for themselves instead of helping the Temerian assholes who locked you up. Like, I thought that was the better thing, but like.
Well, I'll just say this on this point. It's
they didn't
not
bring it up.
They said CD Projekt Red made reference to the fact that the DLCs will deal with more of those characters that we didn't see from Witcher 2.
Yeah. So for all you know, I mean, it might deal with that stuff that you want, but I think we should with the story stuff, we should stop getting deeper. But I do like the idea of The Witcher and what they brought because, like I said, they're guns. They're the equivalency of guns or nuclear weapons. We hate them, but in the end, I mean, these people hate them and despise them, but in the end, they need their help constantly.
Well, I think this is what I think is like it's one of the best actual fantasy medieval kind of worlds.
Well,
because
it's also true.
It's true.
Because it's like they're all dead. They're all dying out. Like the Viper School is destroyed. The Cat School is despised and pretty much gone. The Wolf School is pretty much
destroyed.
Destroyed. Like give it like 5, 10, maybe not even 5 years. Give it a year, and it's gonna be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's kind of like whatever they have these different schools or whatever. But I just like how he built the world, the writer.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like these people are medieval people. They're not like Game of Thrones where they're charismatic to us and they like shower and they're all clean all the time. It's like medieval people were disgusting. Like if one of us interacted with a medieval person, you would be just perplexed, confused. There'd be no relation at all. They're fucking racist. They're superstitious. They don't clean. They're not hygienic. All their teeth fall out all the time, and they're stupid as shit.
Yeah,
That's medieval life.
Character in here who makes mention of that, who ends up pretty much being the doctor of this small little village, and Geralt goes, "Oh, I bet you like how these people worship you and appreciate you and all." And she's like, "These motherfuckers are dumb as shit. They would worship my ass if I gave them fucking soap." It's like, yeah, she's not wrong.
So then you have these characters, the Witchers, who are mutated. They actually have different eyes, and of course,
and basically they have like eternal youth because it's
not eternal youth.
Well, no, but it's like they have what Logan pretty much has, where it's like they're like 100.
They live a long time. Yeah,
like they're fucking 30.
So you have these people who show up, and the medieval people. They're superstitious. They think you're a fucking freak. They're like, what the fuck is that? He's not normal. He's not like us. And they react accordingly.
And they're like, hey, we need your help. And then they'll... Actually, I'm talking about this, but there was a new DLC, The Witcher 3 that came out free called like, I forget what it's called, where the cat and wolf play. That's what the quest is called. And it actually deals with that, and it has several nods to one of the last books.
And there's also a cool thing where, depending on if you're wearing a Witcher armor, he will comment on like, "Oh, you're wearing a cat armor with a wolf thing? Aren't you like a weird puzzle or something?"
Yeah.
Which I like the little details in games where they can notice that sort of stuff. But anyway, just because I feel like we're getting into the minutiae of things, I think we can all say that one of the main drive of this game is the lore, the mythology within it. And how
that's what I wanted to say, is the world.
Yeah.
It feels real. Like Jeff even commented, like they all dress like dorks too. It's like these shorts,
they dress like morons.
Doublets. Well, morons in our opinion, right? If we came up with a T-shirt, they'd be like, "What the fuck are you wearing? Are you wearing a tablecloth or something?" You know, they'd be like,
"Yeah, what are you, gay?"
It's different, and so many fantasy RPGs, they all have. It's like basically fantasy as if it happened right now, like with 2015
romanticized
style and sense
that we see a lot of the time.
What I love the most,
like they apply the sense of speaking and fashion and stuff to a fantasy like environment. It doesn't make sense because if it's medieval time, they should act like what we were like in the medieval times.
Right.
You know, it shouldn't be like we're all quippy like hipsters, except we wear swords around our on our backs. It's like we should be different if we use.
I love the most about this game that the armor, most of it looks ugly and doesn't look like it fits you well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I still remember, what was it? There was a quest where you wear this giant fucking piece of armor, like Nilfgaardian metal, to test out, and it completely eclipses Geralt. And it's just like fucking clunky and giant and
it's plate armor. He doesn't wear plate armor because he's a Witcher.
It looks like Geralt is wearing his daddy's clothes at a certain point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Geralt's like 6'2" in the medieval times, which is incredible.
Yeah, he's no slouch. He's pretty fucking big, yeah.
He's a massive person for that time. It makes no sense, right?
Well, it makes sense in the fact that he's a mutated, augmented with magic human being, but
yeah.
Wonder if that makes you taller, but I don't know.
It might, because they say they get these mutations young. Very young.
Those other motherfuckers aren't that
tall. They pick up orphans and they pick up like orphans and shit.
Yeah, I think Geralt was like less than 10 when he got picked up, so he still hadn't gone to 3. But anyway, we're going into like ultra specific other things. But let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the gameplay. Like,
I actually like I like this gameplay, but I also like the gameplay, the combat in The Witcher 2 a little bit, just as much. It does kind of get used to. Honestly, you really don't need that dodge button. Like all you need is the rolling action, and that's really it. Like
you have a dodge. You have a dodge and a
roll.
And a roll.
Yeah, like the dodge, he just steps back like 2 feet, The world jumps.
I'll say I think I'm a little more versed in these like, fighting game mechanics. The dodge is good if you want a quicker punish. So if you see the guy recovers quickly from a move, instead of rolling, which has a bigger recovery than the dodge, which won't allow you to get the punish in, you can just dodge the move and then punish quickly. It's a quicker punish.
Actually, that's exactly because I use both of them all the time because I found that the dodge worked better when I was fighting like swordsmen, like one-on-one. But I used the roll when I was being attacked by multiple people or being attacked by a big monster that would do like an area attack so I can quickly get away with. Whereas the dodge was much more efficient for like, oh, I'm gonna dodge this guy and swipe, dodge this guy and swipe. Maybe that's because I played with like light armor, so I was all about keeping my stamina up so I can use spells quickly and move in and out. So honestly, because you could play this game very differently depending on what armor you use and if you want to equip yourself for using spells, or signs, or just regular swordplay. Well,
at the end of the day, to finish talking about the dodging, it's like, you'll use both. You'll definitely need to use both. There's different scenarios where both of them work. So
you see, I never had a problem with with just rolling. Like everything was handled when I just kept rolling and everything.
Well, you'll still win, but you'll probably miss some quicker damage and quicker fights. But that's it. It's not a big problem anyway. And what you said about the different armor classes is like at the end of the day, is like you're still kind of dodging and hitting with a sword. So I don't know if you'll change too much of the gameplay.
Well, I think it just changes how much your stamina is, and if you're like, I'm more of a direct attacker, or I like to use, for me, I would always use signs all the time. Like, I would constantly switch them out, and
Did you put any points in the skill tree for it?
Yes.
See, I don't understand that. I looked at all of them, and I was like, man, I don't want to use signs, but I never thought they were that good. Well, it's weird.
The two that I always used, that I used the most was, the three was, Quinn, Ard, which was the pushback, and, what was it? The other one, the mind control one, and that was really it. Because, sometimes you would need, because I would use them for the guys who did the shield or were, way too heavy and shit.
Yeah. You have to use them to get around some enemies, but...
Yeah.
They were always established as a complement to the Witcher's fighting style, and I don't know, his swords were the main thing. They always emphasized the swords, so I never thought to do anything but swords in these games.
Because I upgraded the mind control one to the point where I could just, from a distance, control one guy, and then at a later point control two guys, and make them attack their team members, and then just go around them and light the rest with my flamethrower. Okay. You could play this game very tactically if you want to. You could play from a distance and then get in close. That's what I love about this game, is that it doesn't really tell you, but there is so many variety of ways you can play this game instead of just, swinging a sword.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. It's cool that you highlight that, because I went the opposite. I went bear, the bear armor. I just fucking went into heavy strikes and swords. So there's this move you get at the end. It's called Rend. It's like this overhand slash. It just cuts every single person in half in one hit, and that's all I had to do. It's just chop, 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 chop. Kind of brings me to my complaint about the fighting game, rather, or the mechanics. It's not bad. It's definitely fun, and it is kind of a cross between Assassin's Creed and Devil May Cry or something. I don't know if that is accurate, but
I get what you're saying, because it has kind of a similar parrying system to Assassin's Creed, but it also plays like a hack and slash in certain ways.
Because you can kind of break through their guards and just keep mashing and whatnot, and
at least not in the high difficulties. It's much more difficult.
Yeah, I played on hard, and at the end of the day, I just kept slashing everybody, overhand slashing every single person. They would break, their guard would break, and then they would be cut in half. It's I was that strong, apparently. But that's all I spec'd into was damage and swords, right?
Yeah,
so because it came full circle or whatever. It came to fruition.
Maybe because I was playing with lighter armor and I didn't put that much emphasis on that stuff. So I would find myself, if I was just slashing at somebody, at a certain point they would just break my attack, and then I would be open for strike, and I would just be phased. Yeah,
that's interesting. So I guess there is multiple playstyles, which is cool. But at the end of the day, you are going to be using your swords, and after coming, I do talk about Dark Souls a bunch, and that game really is good for its solid fight, mechanics. Every time you hit R1, you get the same move. That allows you to know what you're going to do, know the ranges, and then you can actually use it like an extension of your character, right? Like you actually know, like my R1 is long range. I use it for when a guy is trying to like approach from this angle, or if a guy is trying to roll away, I use this leaping attack, which chases him down. So you can kind of build a what's called a meta game around it. So you know what's going to happen, and you know how to address it. In this game, you have, you know, like you have a, I guess a mathematical, I don't know, like what's it called, a formula for when you do different attacks. So if a guy's behind you, you might do like a stab like backwards, or you might do a twirling turnaround spin move, and they all kind of vary in like animation. They all vary in animation and time it takes. So if you hit the button once, you don't know what you're gonna get. It's like an algorithm to tell you, like to determine what flashy move Geralt does, and that actually breaks up your control of the character because you're kind of just hoping that the move is quick, but instead you get this twirling move. It's the same complaint I had with Witcher 2. It was like the fighting game mechanics, they're good. The fighting is fun. You'll definitely not get bored or frustrated, but they're not as solid as something like Dark Souls for me. Yeah. Because you don't know what's going to happen, really. They're just trying to going for more of a pizzazz and finesse.
It's also one of the downfalls of being, like, you see this very common, like, games that are very open world, they don't have the most solid of gameplay elements. That's just
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. But Dark Souls is open world, I guess. But I mean, it's weird. It's a hard comparison to make.
Yeah,
that game really is great.
Because that's a whole game based on its mechanics. So it's kind of like.
Yeah. Well, for some people it has a great story, but and for some people like me, I never fucking experienced the story, so I don't read all the descriptions.
If you like having your story fed to you via Wikipedia, then sure, it has a great story.
Yeah, exactly. Or Charles Rocky, our resident fucking.
I mean, it's just
lore master for that game.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I can appreciate that, but I like seeing a story take place in front of me via like a narrative like that, like a traditional narrative.
Exactly. Oh, of course. I want to know what is happening, and I want somebody to tell me. I don't want to read the whole time.
Even if it's just like reading a story sequentially as it goes along, not just deciphering pieces. I don't know. It's
deciphering is the worst. I hate that. Let's be honest.
It's different strokes for different folks, honestly. That's just
yeah. Well, Dark Souls. We're not trying to say Dark Souls is a bad game. It's definitely fucking great. And I like this. You know, the story here is I guess we could transition into talking about that now.
There's a couple more, like just like the upgrading system, like the crafting stuff. How did you guys feel about that?
It's a fucking lot, but you know what? I actually like.
Yeah, it is a lot.
It is a lot, but you know what? I think it's a little bit better than The Witcher 2 in a way because it was a little bit simpler.
Yeah. It was, and yet it still was complex. It wasn't like they dumbed it down, but they just made it easier to do. Like, the fact that you could just, like, easily go into one menu, I can go to my alchemy menu, I can look at everything I have recipes for, and whether or not I can build it, that was very efficient. Like, I could easily craft stuff, learn how to do it. The only problem I had was I wish they made it simpler to go in the menus and equip different potions instead of, like, I gotta open it all up, scroll to this end, and then, like, I wish that was a little easier to do.
Yeah, the menus weren't, I don't think, that optimized. They were easy to use, but I think they could have been better. Like, having to scroll through the crafting was pretty. After you get a lot of recipes, it's pretty daunting, honestly.
Especially when you're building, like, I'm gonna build wolf gear and hands, and I have to go, scroll.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Griffin. That's cat shit.
Yeah, it's like, do I have this? Do I have this? Where is it? And then you click over to your inventory. It's like, do I have the regions for this? And then you go back, and it's like you have to scroll down again to double check. It's like, oh man. But that's a minor complaint, I guess. And speaking of Dark Souls, they adopted I don't know why Bloodborne didn't keep this going. Everybody else is stealing this. The refreshing potion system. Like, it's a bit of a loadout potion system where you always have 3, and then if you meditate, you replenish instead of having to recreate the potions or farm them or something, like in Bloodborne, which is
as long as you have the Dwarven Spirits or Outposts.
Yeah, you have one item that replenishes all your shit, so you can just sit there and boom, like sitting at a bonfire. It's really a great system. It keeps you going, whereas in the second game, you had to like find so many different herbs and make them every time, and what herb does what, and this herb is blue, this herb is red, I need red, blue and white to make this again before this boss fight, and you gotta like go find it all. Here, I found that it's better system. It's like the Dark Souls system, you just replenish. But then I ended up having like 800,000 herbs I didn't use because they weren't necessary. I just had like all these herbs.
Thankfully, they don't take that much space in your inventory.
they don't have
they
any
don't.
weight.
Yeah.
It's just annoying to shift through them, but it's also like you can at a certain point you can just be like enough 100 plus inventory max. So you're like, unless you just go crazy, like I'm gonna pick up every sword, you're fine on inventory.
Yeah.
But
It's also really easy to get money.
It's
like it's
fine.
much easier than it was in The Witcher 2.
It's fine. It's not a problem, but it's just weird. It's like now I've got like literally 8,000 herbs and monster parts that I didn't end up doing. Like, what do you just sell those? I never needed them. At the end of the day, I crafted like the final version. Like there's 5 versions of the bear armor. The final version's chest piece, which is the biggest piece, used like 1 bit of like flap, like dragon skin or something, like 1. And I had like 18,000 different kinds of like eyes and skins and brains, and it's like, I guess
actually, it's funny, Alan, because each one of the armors, like at least the Witcher armors, use their own types of different monster effects. So it's like, I don't know, I appreciate something like that.
No, it's a good system for that. Because in the second game my inventory wasn't as fucking clumped. In this one I just had like just tons of shit. And I was like, do I sell this? But that, you have that neurotic idea about, no, I'll need this for later. So you just hoard it all, and at the end you really don't need it. You just look at what armor set you want and then keep track of finding those items, and that's it.
Yeah. Pro advice, people, stick with building Witcher armor. It's at a certain point, it won't be as powerful as what you got, but it'll still consistently say better than everything else, most of the stuff out there.
Witcher armor, which one's that?
The School of the Wolf armor.
Those are like the best armor. They have like 5 upgraded versions.
Yeah.
And that was really fun for me. I love crafting systems, so it was like fun to go find all the recipes.
Yeah, same here. I love
all
the
the
crafting
stuff.
system is really fun on here.
And they also added as part of one of the 16 free DLCs, good on you, CD Projekt Red. One of them was a whole new set called Wolf Armor, which is
the Wolf Armor, which
is really good. I really like it.
It's interesting that they left that out in the final game.
No, at least they added it for free, Alan.
Yeah, exactly. But
unlike you, Batman.
Fuck you, Batman. But
you see,
I
think Geralt could take Batman.
I think Geralt would whoop Batman's ass.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, Geralt would kill that motherfucker, no sweat.
Yeah. Time to die, motherfucker.
Honestly, at this point, it depends who's writing. Which Batman are you talking about? The Batman that's perfect, that has a plan for everything, or just everything else?
Oh no,
I think
even the guy who has a plan for everything would kind of be taken off being teleported to the middle of nowhere with some dude in armor and silver swords setting fire to his face.
I don't know. Don't you remember that episode of Justice League Unlimited where he got sent to the West and he was still badass as fuck?
Oh yeah.
He's like, I don't use guns, but you're in the Wild West, Batman.
Get into this. First of all, Geralt's a motherfucker. That's my argument. First of all, he's a motherfucker, and I rest my case.
And he actually may have fucked your mother at a certain point.
Yeah, he fucks everything.
Dude's a freak. He's a super freak, man.
Hey,
he's awesome.
He lives up to that name, man.
He is a mutant.
Yeah, I mean, he's a horny motherfucker, and it's pretty fucking hilarious.
There's so much to do and have sex with in this game. Like, there's so many quests that are like, hey, and at the end we can have sex. It's like, all right, shit.
Well, there's like 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't keep track of them all. Besides the main story where you're having sex with like tons of different.
You have sex with a lot of female mages, like a bunch of sexy ass female mages. Anyway,
are you just talking about that? Because there's other side quests where you have sex.
No, there's like 2 other side quests, I think.
Okay, yeah, okay. I mean, he's just banging seriously. That's what I did. I was like, if I have the option, I'll just bang everyone, and it did end up biting me in the ass. But what can you do? I was like, it's in my nature. I am a man. I am but a man. And when you show me 2 odd as fuck sorceresses, what can I do?
Alan is like, I have a penis, and y'all were just saying yes, and I was like...
Be empathetic. It has a mind of its own. You don't even know. You're a woman.
They're 2 different heads thinking simultaneously.
A raven-haired chick and a redhead? Come on. He's just gonna sit there shrugging like, come on.
A hot blonde? Come on.
You have you talking about the gray-haired one?
What gray-haired one?
Velen, at the end of Velen.
No, I'm talking... I'm
Yeah,
talking about
no, you guys
Kira.
are talking about the same person.
Oh,
What's her name? The other sorceress.
Kira.
Kira.
Yeah, Kira Metz. She was like gray-haired.
Was she the blonde? I listened.
Like, she was, like, blonde bordering on, like, so white it looked fucking gray.
Yeah. Yeah, she's hot too, so fuck. that's what you're doing in
You
this
see,
game.
that's the cool thing, is that, like, apparently, like, it's in the lore that all of the witches, like, most if not all of the witches, were, like, hideous, were, like, looked ugly.
Maybe
And,
not
like,
hideous, but they just look like regular people in the
yeah,
world.
well, it's also suggested that, Yennefer was a hunchback.
Had a hunchback.
Had a hunchback, and like the first thing all these witches do, and it's pretty much established, this is all they fucking do. The first thing they do when they get magic, they make themselves super hot, and it's like, yeah.
Well, they're still women. I think Kira Metz had a comeback for this. She said, "Well, we make ourselves pretty not for men, but for us."
Yeah, I mean, and let's be fair, if all of us had like, oh, we can make ourselves look like anybody else, I'd be like, I'm looking like Antonio Banderas or Javier Bardem.
Antonio Banderas. I don't know. I might make myself a little bit more idealized, but I wouldn't change from the structure of my face, you know?
Actually, if I was to just make myself look like any celebrity that looks kind of like me, I would just be like, you look like Benicio del Toro now.
Jesus, so you don't even know when you actually have sex with the sorceress, could be like a fucking mutant, could be like a water hag.
Well, they look like that now at this point, and you're not.
Is it not like an illusion? Is it like actually real?
They actually look like that.
Okay, good. Oh, it's like a water hag. Their illusion pops off mid, orgasm, and all the and all the excitement. The illusion just gets cast off, and then boom, you're sitting there on a unicorn with a water hag.
Oh my god!
Oh shit! Turn it back on! Don't look at me!
And
Don't look at me!
I think
throws mud at you and runs away.
No, anyway. But if I had one complaint about this game, is that this game, you know what it made me do? It made me buy books and read them.
That is a landmark. Yeah, that is a landmark.
Yeah, I know, a Hispanic person reading.
Really?
No.
Jesus Christ. No, the world is great. I mean, let's talk about the side quests. There's so many side quests. There's
great.
So much to do. They all have storylines. Why is there a monster here? Why did we need it removed? Is there something underhanded going on? Why won't you give me more money? Do I need to help you more? Is somebody beating you? Are you a minority? Is there a Gwent tournament I could play in? There's so many side quests. It's incredible.
If you're poor and you can only buy like 2 games a year.
Oh yeah, Witcher. Are you kidding
me? And Fallout 4. There you go. You got your whole year.
Let's wait on that one. Who knows?
Let's wait on Fallout.
I heard they're taking out the skill system. That's all I'm saying.
That'd be stupid. Anyway.
That would be stupid, but apparently there's just a skill tree now.
I need to see how it works, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm
cautious. I'm cautious.
Yeah. But the crafting system looks great. Let's say that Fallout 4 looks like the game we all want it to be.
Sure.
Then yes.
Yeah, buy it. It looks dope.
Buy it.
We went through story. Like, is there any other complaint besides any story complaints that we're going to talk about later that somebody else might have?
I'm thinking.
What do you mean later?
Okay, you know what? This is just a small thing. The only complaint that I can really think of is, as what is usual in an open world game, there are glitches.
Yeah, but that's just bound to be happening.
I got okay. What's the funniest one you guys have encountered?
I would get weird glitches when you would do the animation when you're decapping somebody's head. Yeah. That they would just go everything would just go flying away. I'm oh Jesus!
They would always clip the bodies into the ground, and then they would fly off while resisting it.
See, I got
every single time.
You see, I got one where I think it was Skellig. It was one of the ones that have just a shitload of mountains, right?
Yeah.
And I'm on Roach, and Roach is. You realize he's like a fucking demon horse or something, right? Like, he has teleporting powers or something.
Oh, I had a funny one with Roach. Too.
So, wait, let me first. So I'm running, right? Like, Roach and me, we're fast, we're going off into the mountains and shit. Out of nowhere, Roach decides that he can walk on 2 legs.
I got that
too! And he starts, like, moving up, like, he starts moving like he's trying to climb shit in midair. And he's
it's
like
that happened
around.
Here, I know I'm familiar with that glitch. That happened every time you go on an incline and then go to like a decline really fast. he will glitch out and be clipping through the ground or at the wrong axis. So he'll look like he's swimming, or he's like head is in the ground and he's kicking outwards.
Yeah, that's what I got. Weird. I'm just on the top of him on an incline where he's running on his feet, on his like two front legs, while his other legs are just kicking up in the air, and you just see him like completely bent, and Geralt is just looking down to the ground. I was laughing like a maniac because it was so funny.
It was weird. I didn't find that funny. I was like, oh, this is a glitch. I kept seeing it. I was just never laughed. I was like, oh, it keeps glitching. Whatever.
But honestly, I only had that once, and frankly...
Yeah, same here.
It's no Batman Arkham Asylum on the PC. Or not Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight on the PC.
And even then, I stopped getting the clipping glitch of the decapping, I think like a week ago. I think they patched that out.
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
I finished more than a week ago, so I had it the whole playthrough. But if are we doing complaints? Just general complaints?
General.
All right, my biggest
like
general
plot, but
yeah. My biggest general complaint is there is actually too much to do in this game. It is overwhelming. There is literally too much, and take that for what it's worth. If that doesn't sound like a complaint to you, I mean, go ahead. But for the average person who kind of wants to be done with the game, who kind of wants to be able to 100% it without like this kind of irrational investment, not irrational, but like inconvenient investment, there's too much. Like, there's so much that either to beat the game in like a week, you'd have to just do the main story. Mm-hmm. So I found it that I got swamped, I got overwhelmed, and I like the pacing of Witcher 2 better because they just gave you one area, a little area with a bunch of side quests in it, not like 100. And the Velen Novigrad area is massive. It's like an MMO area, and it's all to yourself. And every single every village has quests, multiple quests.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you want to play it like a crazy person and just beat it in like a week, then maybe you might see those issues. But if you're
not like a crazy person, I like to enjoy a game, play it for 2 weeks, and then no matter what game it is, I'll get bored of it. And with Witcher, I played for 2 weeks and not beaten it, so I had to like start begrudgingly launching it, which kind of it was just unfortunate that I got that far. I never got to that point in Witcher 2, and I looked my Witcher 2 hours. I beat the game twice, and I had 100 hours. I had not beaten the game or even gotten to the fourth act in Witcher 3. And it was 100 hours. So two like full playthroughs, 100 hours in Witcher 2. This was like 120 hours to beat the game once. It's just too much, you know. And like I said, there's a fourth act here, and that's never a good idea. I don't think.
I think that's honestly like, but for me, I totally get where you're coming from, and I felt that to a certain degree, especially with like the amount of like question marks in the map. Like I have to know what's in all those question marks. But
exactly.
But I think
I just had to give up.
Yeah, I did the same thing too. But in terms of just the side quests and the main story, I think that's fine because there's a lot, like even in some of the smaller side quests, there's enough narrative and interesting like little mini stories, especially after I read the book and I could just go like, oh, this is like one of the short stories in Sword of Destiny. It's like this little like mini experience that's really fun to see Geralt. But I can definitely see where you're coming from with that, and it doesn't bother me as much just because I can go like, I'm done looking at these question marks. I'm going to just focus on side story means without any problem.
I think I said that before. I'm a little neurotic, so like if I don't 100% an area, I get pissed. And I had to leave the Velen area without searching everything and doing all the quests, and I was like, ugh. And I think the bigger complaint though is that the fourth act comes in, and that's just taking too long. Like you can wrap it up in 3 acts, people. Like there's a climax that isn't a climax, and then there's another fight. You know, it's just like we could have made it. I mean, it's big. But sometimes the pacing gets thrown off when you do that. Mm-hmm. But I shouldn't complain that there's a ton of extra shit to do because at the end of the day, it is extra, and it should be up to me to like get over it if I want to do it or not. But yeah, the fourth act really kind of made me tired. It wore me out of the game.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we're Ryan. Did you have any complaints before we wrap up?
Not really. I mean, honestly, when you guys are saying, "Oh, it was too much" and all, I honestly think that's a backhanded compliment because it's like you're getting more for your money just doing all of this shit. And
sure, yeah.
There's
no arguing with that. It is more.
Like instead of it, because like what, like now, I mean, most games are like what, like 5-6 hour games.
Mm-hmm.
They're short, you know. So when you get a game like this, which is $60
Yeah.
or $80 or how much is the season pass?
$25.
It's $25.
But it was on
so
sale.
$85.
Before it came out. I think it was on sale if you got it early. That it was $80 if you bought it without.
Okay. Well, around 80, like 70 or 80.
Yeah.
And it's not even a quality over quantity thing. It's like everything here is quality.
Yeah, everything's great. So it's like
you just spend a ton of time and effort.
Much. I kind of think that's like in a way that's more of a compliment than an insult on the game.
It very well could be. Yeah, it depends on how you think. Like if you're a guy who can literally do nothing but play and want a huge meaty game, like a steak the size of a fucking frisbee.
Well, if it's also one of those things where it's like if you aren't able to buy like a lot of games and all.
Oh yeah, the value is out the.
Then yeah, the value is way more. Like it's kind of like I would use the Persona argument, like Persona 4 Golden or Persona 4, where it's like, oh yeah, there's a shitload in this, and it's fucking long. But really, you know what? If you're those kind of guys that it's like, you can't really buy every single game that comes out, and you know you can't buy Arkham Knight, you can't buy Fallout 4, you can't buy all of these all at the same time and enjoy all of these, then yeah, I'd say go buy The Witcher 3 because it's a lot of fun and you're going to get your money's worth.
And you might pick up a new book series.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which I can highly recommend.
Persona actually manages to even have replayability. It was like a huge game with replayability. It's like, what the fuck? This game doesn't have replayability, I think.
I disagree on that statement.
I don't think it had much of a story variation, unless you fuck up. The other game, Witcher 2, had 2 separate Act 2s.
That is true. Okay, I'll have
Act
to do
2s
that.
was literally 2 separate areas. It was with 2 different storylines. You miss, 5 gigabytes of content if you choose one direction? So you have to play the game again. Here, you get everything the first time through, I'm pretty sure. As long as you do what you think is right and the way you want to do it. Unless you want to go against what you wanted to do, and just see Geralt being a dick or being really jovial. It's like, I mean, you'll get to the same place and you won't miss much, I don't think.
I will concede to you and Alan that in comparison to Witcher 2, this does not have the same level of replayability. I think there's replayability personally for myself, just because I like choosing different dialogue options. I like seeing what if I, instead of going with this character, I went with this character and yada yada yada.
It's such a big game.
I think there's enough replayability, if you want to be like, fuck it, you know what, I'm going to try going for the harder difficulty or the like, and it's like, yeah, I can...
See, what they did with Witcher 2, though, I know I keep sucking that dick's game, but it is one of the best games ever, I think. They added the dark mode, which was we added tons of new armor sets that give you lifesteal, and everything's super hard. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll play the game again. Here, if they do something like that, for this game, it'd be pretty fucking hard to, do that, but I mean, they're up to it, obviously. I might play it again, but it's such a big game, I don't even think replayability comes it's not a big concern for the review. It's not a roguelike or something. Yeah, I played it once, I didn't want to play it again. 5 minutes, I died.
This 100-hour game, I didn't want to play it again!
Yeah. No shit, right? It's well, you just did a fucking journey.
There's certain games that have replayability that are 12 hours long, and even if you play them 3 times, you're still not getting as much content as one playthrough of this game.
Exactly. Yeah. What do you speed run the Call of Duty campaign? Yeah. Good luck. That's one sitting of Witcher 3.
And you won't even get past the prologue.
Yeah, it's the prologue.
Yeah, the prologue's fuck. It's God knows how long.
Yeah, I like that. I saw that area. I was like, this is just big enough. I can explore. I can see over here. I can find all the question marks, do all the side quests. And then it's they drop you in Velen. It's boom. And I'm like, holy shit. Okay, I've got to start on this corner. Oh no, I can't even do everything in this corner because there's level 14 guys here. So I've got to come back later. That means I've got to log that in my mind to come back later when I'm higher level to clear out all this shit. Otherwise it'll be on the map and it'll be undiscovered. And there might be loot there and blah, blah, blah. And it's just I never got around the fucking storyline. I was 20 levels higher than anybody in the storyline all the time.
You see, I don't know about you, Alan, but I had in my room, I don't think you can't see it, but I have a bunch of red strings and pictures interconnecting of which area of the Witcher has which level of monsters.
You just a web, a map of Velen on your wall. A bunch of
It's
plotted
just-
points and a bucket of shit underneath your chair, so you don't have to get up.
And just a bunch of pea jars.
Pea jars. Fucking a bag of cashews and pea jars all on your desk.
White Wolf, at last. I come for her of the prophecy. Every decision you make will bring devastation. Each choice will lead to a greater